Hello folks, I am the Manga Comic Explainer. Today I will continue the last 4 episodes of the Curse of Darkness series of the creepy horror manga comic Strange Detective. And guys, trust me, this story is too creepy and will give you goosebumps. Please check out my previous videos to follow the storyline. So, without wasting any more time, let us get started. Chapter 7. After hearing the plan of Kai, Zen got so excited that decided to rush and visit the factory at once, as it was already nighttime. But Kai felt tired, so he suggested taking a rest and continuing their investigation the following day. Zen then suggested that maybe we should stay together for the night, as the attacks by the shadow killers are getting frequent now. Kai agreed and went to sleep in the next room. Zen took a shower and continued her work late at night on her desktop. But suddenly she realized that it is very uncommon for a guy like Kai to sleep so silently. Out of a hunch, she rushed into Kai's room, and to her astonishment she found Kai being strangled by a shadow killer. Zen quickly grabbed a bowl of water and splashed it on the monster. The shadow vanished. Kai took a breath of relief. Kai replied that he was almost about to die. These shadow killers are growing very impatient now. Zen suggested, "Time is of the essence now. We have to solve the case immediately." They took off immediately in their car to visit the factory. On the way, Kai suggested that he will go inside first and investigate and will report to Zen. If anything goes sideways, she can plan ahead. But Zen disagreed and suggested sticking together. On the way, Zen stopped near a convenience store and grabbed a packet of cold drinks. They finally reached the factory. They were ready with their water guns to finish the Shadow Queen Lin once and for all. Chapter 7 ends here. Chapter 8. Kai suggested that we should distract the security guard Gui and sneak inside. But Zen denied and suggested forceful entry. Kai wondered why. Then Zen revealed that the security guard Gui is actually Lin's husband. And that is why he is staying here for so long and guarding the factory without getting harmed by Kin or the shadow killers. And hence he must possess some valuable information about all these happenings. After entering the factory gate, they both found that Gui is not present in the security office. But instead, they discovered his dead body inside the factory. Yes, Gui was also murdered. But to their surprise, Gui's shadow didn't leave his body, and his body temperature didn't drop yet. This suggests that Gui was not killed by shadow killer. Instead, he was strangled to death by Lin very recently. Then they both entered the place where there was the window about which Kin said to have seen Lin's shadow, and got himself cursed soon after. But to their surprise, there was no one present. Suddenly Lin's shadow appeared from behind, seeming like a giant shadow monster lurking from darkness, and it attacked Kai and Zen. Zen quickly took out her water gun and fired at the monster, but to her surprise, it had no effect on Lin's shadow. Kai's theory about water being a nemesis to these shadow killers has seemed to have failed here. So, finally, they decided to evade. Kai grabbed Zen and ran towards a window. Lin's shadow chased them, and then they broke out of the window and got out of the place. They quickly started their car and drove off. Kai sighed in relief and said that was close, but not so soon. Lin's shadow landed on the roof of their car and was looking at them through the windshield. Chapter 8 ends here. Let's start Chapter 9. Chapter 9 starts with Kai and Zen driving the car with Lin's shadow on the roof looking at them through the windshield. Lin's shadow then began banging on the car roof, causing a crack in the back window. Zen was losing control of the car. Lin's shadow tried entering the car via the window crack, but due to uncontrolled driving, the cans of cold drinks that Zen had in her car started bursting out and sprinkled everywhere. And by chance, one can burst out and sprinkle the cold drinks on the hand of Lin's shadow. And she shouted like hell. And that is what gave Kai the ultimate idea. It is not just water that the shadows are afraid of. It is cold water. And as the ancient script suggested, the shadow killers always abandoned their place after autumn, when snow and rain followed. So that was it. Cold water is a nemesis for these shadow killers. Lin's shadow tried to sneak in again, and this time Kai deliberately splashed a can of cold drinks on her. And as expected, it worked. Zen suggested let's finish this now, once and for all. But they only had 2 cans of cold drinks left with them. Then Zen got an idea. She accelerated the car to maximum speed and told Kai to jump from the car with her. The car with Lin's shadow directly bashed into a convenience store. The owner quickly ran away after seeing Lin's shadow chasing Zen and Kai. Kai and Zen quickly grabbed some ice popsicles, but Lin's shadow attacked Zen and threw her away in a corner. Kai then directly shooted those ice popsicles at the monster. The monster screamed in pain. Zen brought some more ice and splashed in the face of the monster. The monster screeched in pain and began melting. Kai and Zen both sighed in relief, hoping the nightmare might have ended. But they forgot one thing: their own shadows. Shadow of Zen and Kai appeared from behind and grabbed them by their neck, strangling them to death. Chapter 9 ends here. Guys, if you like it, please consider subscribing to this channel for more interesting manga comics and anime explanations. It really helps with motivation. Now let's move on to the last and final chapter. Chapter 10. Kai gave up, saying, "I have no more strength and this might be the end of both of us." Strangled by their own shadows, Zen started to feel death. She found herself in limbo, where she was falling into an unknown abyss and crying out for Kai to save her. Kai also found himself in the same limbo, trying hard to grab Zen's hand to save her. But suddenly a numerous number of black shadowy hands appeared from the depth of the abyss and grabbed Zen and pulled her into eternal darkness. But somehow both Kai and Zen regained little consciousness and both decided to give it one last try before death. Zen pulled out the shoe of her one leg, dropped the socks, grabbed one ice popsicle by her leg, which by the chance was present there, and aimed it directly at Kai. Kai caught the ice popsicle and shot it directly, aiming the eye of the monster. The monster was defeated and the shadow of Zen and Kai disappeared. But Lin's shadow was resilient and made the final attempt to attack Kai and Zen. Suddenly from nowhere, a spray of white snow appeared all over the monster and turned it into a mold. The spray was nitrogen and the sprayer was Ma Feng. She was a researcher at 749th Division and a good teammate of Zen. Ma Feng and Zen took that mold to their lab for further study, and Kai also joined them. In the lab, Ma Feng revealed that this mold is actually a germ, a kind of ancient bacteria. The mold is currently the earliest form of life still present on Earth till date. It shows characteristics of life from 1 billion years ago. We name it the Old Shadow Germ. This type of germ hides in the human shadow. After attacking a host, they compact and change forms into the appearance of the host. Ma Feng further reveals that these old shadow germs do not have any biological response and do not harm their host at initial stages. So it may be quite possible that many peoples are still affected by this germ unknowingly. But once these germs are at a mature stage, on activation by the queen, they will kill and leave the body of the host. So, Kai wondered that the theory of the relationship of soldier ants to their queen ant is true and exactly resembles the relationship between shadow killers and their queen, Lin's shadow. Lin got infected by this germ on her business trip, and her shadow became the queen of the shadow killers. And on demand by the queen, those shadows killed their host. But the queen didn't demand death of Lin's husband Gui, and so he lived for so long. Gui knew that Lin's shadow is the queen of those shadow killers, so he guarded the factory. But the sudden visit of Zen and Kai that day may have startled the queen, and so he also had to die at the hands of the queen. Finally, Ma Feng concluded that these shadow germs may still exist in this world, out in the dark, slowly maturing, and awaiting the day to become a new queen of shadows one day. So, guys, that was the end of the 10th and final episode of this series, Curse of Darkness, from Manga Comics, Strange Detective. The next series of Strange Detective is named Devouring House. Please let me know in the comment if you want an explanation of that series. I will bring it to you. And friends, if you like it, please do subscribe. So, thank you, friends. See you in the next manga anime explanation.